when Rontheo woke up, tied to a wooden frame in an alien jungle camp. He was pretty sure he was about to get roasted like a marshmallow until the blue alien woman, hanging upside down above the fire, winked at him and said, "Relax, human. I only eat people on weekends." The night smelled like pine trees, smoke, and pure regret. Ron, shirtless, sweaty, confused, and aggressively aware of how close the flames were to his pants, groaned, "Fantastic. I get abducted by space elves who cosplay as forest gymnasts." The alien woman laughed an actual laugh, not an evil villain hiss. Her voice was musical, mischievous, and just slightly dangerous, like someone who flirted professionally. She swung slowly, hanging from a vine in perfect acrobatic pose, her glowing eyes fixed on him. Forest elves. Oh please, where's it? Much more flexible. Want a demonstration? She curled her toes, and the vine twisted, making her spin in slow circles above the fire. Ron tried not to look impressed. He failed, right? He said. So, am I being eaten? Depends, she said with a wicked grin. How tender are you? I moisturize, he muttered. Sometimes, she burst out laughing so hard she almost swung into a tent. He watched her, mesmerized not just because she was alien-level, beautiful, but because she was so casually playful while tied up like a circus act above a bonfire. Her skin was violet blue, glowing faintly, like bioluminescent moonstone. Her hair fell in waves of pale silver. She looked like a warrior, a dancer, and someone who absolutely made decisions she later blamed on the moon phases. What's your name? He asked. She smirked. Lixera, he repeated. Okay, good, nice, cool. Can Lixera possibly tell her friends not to roast Ronthal, humble human mechanic from Iowa? Oh, we're not going to roast you, she said. He sighed with relief. We're going to interrogate you. Less relief. About what? She shrugged mid-swing. You wandered into our scouting zone. Stole one of our thermal knives, poked our patrol captain with it. He was chasing me. He thought you were a wild boar. I am not a boar. You squealed. I tripped. Lixera laughed again, flipping herself upright by hooking her legs around the vine. Ron tried not to stare at how strong she looked, but also, he stared. Human, she said teasingly. You keep making that face. You are either terrified or attracted. Both, he said honestly, deeply, simultaneously. It's confusing. Good, she purred. Confusion is how Zanari courtship begins. Ron froze. See courtship. She leaned down from the vine until her face was inches from his. Or interrogation. Hard to tell the difference. For the record, he whispered, humans do not begin romantic interactions over a fire pit while tied up. She blinked slowly. That sounds boring. Yeah, well, so does being eaten. We're not eating you, she said. She paused. Unless you ask nicely. Ron swallowed the entire atmosphere. A tall Zanari warrior walked into the clearing, looked at Ron, then looked at Lixera, who was still dangling upside down. Lixera, the warrior groaned. Are you flirting with the prisoner again? Her tail, which Ron had not noticed until now, holy cosmic tail, flicked in irritation. I am interrogating him, she declared. You're hanging above him like a lovesick jungle. Bat interrogating. She corrected. That's not a word. Then, I invented it. Ron raised a hand, as much as he could while tied up. Hey, can we discuss not killing me? The warrior sighed. Relax. Human, you aren't dying. Ron sagged in relief, yet, he sagged less. Lixera spun slowly, barely holding back a laugh. Don't tease him, she said. He's very nervous. It's adorable. Adorable. Ron repeated. I'm tied up like a rotisserie chicken. Yes, she said. Exactly, he blinked. Okay, I walked into that one. Hours later, after the other warriors left, Lixera finally loosened the vines binding him. Careful, she said. If you try to escape, I'll have to tackle you, and then interrogate me again. She smiled wickedly. Depends how fast you run. He rubbed his wrists. You know where I'm from. Flirting usually involves dinner first. Great, she said. I'll catch something. She sprang into the forest before he could clarify that he meant eating dinner, not becoming dinner. He sat near the fire, trying to calm his pulse. When she returned, 15 minutes later, carrying a glowing, six-legged alien rabbit thing, she proudly held it up. For you, it's, very alive. Not for long, right? They roasted the glowing rabbit thing over the fire. Ron tried to act tough. Lixera tried to hide the fact. She kept staring at him like he was the desert. So, she said between bites, human, why did you come to this planet? Ron took a breath. Craft my ship. Lost my crew. Wandered for days. Fell into a pit. Got chased by something with at least 9 eyes. And then your people tied me up. She nodded approvingly. A good day for you. That's debatable. Why didn't you fight us? She asked. Most humans try. He swallowed. You looked like you wouldn't actually hurt me. Lixera's eyes softened just a little. And, because you're beautiful, he added. Her tail froze. Then curled slightly. Then her pupils widened. Then she said something no human has ever been emotionally ready for, you fool. Excuse me, you absolute, charming, brave fool, she said. Do you realize what happens when a Zanari woman accepts a compliment from a captured male? Ah, no. She leaned close, eyes glowing brighter. It means she chooses you. For bonding, Roan blinked. For what kind of bonding? She whispered in his ear. The kind that leads to eggs. He choked on airy egg. I just complimented you. Compliments are sacred in my culture. Okay, well in my culture they are not legally binding. It's too late, she said smugly. You have started the ritual. What ritual? The ritual of accidental mating intention. That sounds like something that requires paperwork. Lixera laughed and patted his chest. Oh human, you worry too much. Zanari biology is very complicated. Can we not talk about biology right now? She tilted her head, but we already exchanged the first signal. Roan froze again. What? Signal? Lixera pointed at his face. You blushed. That is not a mating signal. It is for us. How? Because it means you're fertile. What? She grinned wickedly. Congratulations, human. According to Zanari customs, you and I are now semi-partially almost probably bonded. He stood up. No, nope, unbond me. Debond me. Return the bond. Too late, Lixera. She leaned forward, touching his forehead with hers, a gesture that felt warm, electric, intimate and extremely concerning. Relax, she whispered. You won't get pregnant. That was not my concern. She smirked. Oh good, then you won't mind if I do. Roan's soul left his body. What do you mean you? She grabbed his hand. Come, human, I need your help. With what? She smiled sweetly. Choosing a nest. He screamed internally for 10 minutes, and somehow. That was the beginning of the greatest and strangest romantic adventure of his entire life. Roan Thalcrash survivor, spaceship mechanic. Reluctant heartthrob for glowing alien gymnasts followed Lixera through the jungle, muttering a steady stream of prayers, sarcasm, and self-recriminations. Why am I helping you pick out a nest? He asked for the 50th time. Because you accidentally flirt-claimed me, she said, as if explaining how gravity worked. It's very romantic. No, romantic is flowers and dinner, Roan argued. Romantic is not, whatever, egg-adjacent activity you're planning. Lixera stopped, turned, and smirked at him with her glowing eyes. You think eggs are involved already? Oh human, you're so innocent. It's adorable. Innocent lady. I survived 3 ship crashes, a plasma fire, and a space pirate divorce. I am not innocent. Are you sure? She purred. Because right now you look extremely bonchy. That's how Zanari children look when adults explain where hatchlings come from. Roan groaned. Loudly, the jungle opened into a glowing grove, huge trees with bioluminescent leaves, soft moss, and a pond that reflected shimmering blue light. Lixera spread her arms dramatically. This could be our nesting ground. Roan coughed. Okay, that's cute, Foresty. Maybe a bit too romantic for someone I met while tied above a bonfire. Lixera walked in slow circles, examining every patch of moss with exaggerated seriousness. The moss is a bit too soft. Soft is bad. For Zanari nesting. Yes, we need good traction. Roan turned bright red. Why is traction involved? She blinked innocently. You don't want me slipping while I'm carrying our theoretical future, maybe eggs, do you? Lixera, I'm begging you stop using the phrase, our egg, but they'll be very cute. Half human, half Zanari. They are not happening. Lixera smirked and gently tapped her tail against his leg as she walked past. Oh human, you keep saying that. But your blush says, please explain more about hypothetical hybrid babies. That is not what my blush says. It also says nervous but secretly flattered. Roan covered his face. This is emotional harassment. That's just part of courtship. They walked deeper into the grove. Lixera climbed a tree using only her legs showing inhuman flexibility, then leaned over a branch upside down again. This spot has potential, she said. Roan squinted. It's a tree. Yes, nests go on trees. I'm a mammal. Mammals do not build nests. We do. Okay, but I'm human. So, couple bonding requires compromise. I am not in a couple. She dropped from the branch, landing with perfect grace. Oh, then why are you following me around a glowing jungle after accidentally signaling that you want to be my mate? Roan threw his hands up. I did not signal anything. He told me I'm beautiful. She reminded him, poking his chest. In Zanari culture, that is basically a marriage license application. Well, in my culture, it's called being polite. Lixera leaned in close, her voice low and teasing. Then maybe you should be less polite, human. Roan's brain went through every known error code. Suddenly, the ground shook. A low roar echoed through the forest. Roan immediately hid behind Lixera. Was that your father? Because I feel like I should ask forgiveness for existing. Lixera grinned. No, much worse. Forest beast. Define beast. Huge, angry, likes to bite. Roan panicked. We need a weapon. Lixera drew her obsidian-like blade. You are the weapon. I am not. Before he could finish, a massive 4-legged creature with glowing horns burst out of the trees. Roan screamed in fluent chaos. Lixera laughed. Oh good, you have the right instincts. What instincts? Running. She grabbed his wrist and pulled him through the jungle. Dodging roots, vines, fallen logs. Roan shouted, if I survive this, I'm writing a strongly worded letter to your leadership. Oh really? she teased as they ran, to complain about almost being eaten, yes, but not about being bonded to me. That's the first bullet point. Lixera smirked. So you admit there are more. Stop twisting my words. They leaped over a boulder. The beast roared behind them, closer now. Roan gasped for breath. This is not how first dates work. Oh good, Lixera said. So you acknowledge it is a date? No, I don't. She yanked him behind a large tree trunk. The beast thundered past them. They stood pressed together. In the shadows, Roan's hands were on her waist. Lixera's tail coiled lightly around his leg. Everything went quiet. Too quiet, Roan whispered. Is it gone? Lixera whispered back. Yes, but your heart is still racing. That's because you dragged me like a rag doll. No, she murmured, her breath warm against his neck. It's because you like being close to me. Roan stepped back quickly. Nope, back up. Reset, reboot. Lixera raised a brow. You're very dramatic for a warrior. I am a mechanic who accidentally bonded with a Zanari scout. I didn't. She placed a finger over his lips. I can smell it. Human, your hormones. Roan made a sound between a squeak and a prayer. Just to be clear, he whispered, are Zanari allowed to smell people during conversations? It's encouraged, she said, especially during potential mating rituals. Nope, no piety. Nope, she smirked. Your scent says otherwise. My scent is none of your business. Lixera leaned in again, face inches from his. Then why did you keep holding my waist even after the beast passed? Roan looked down, his hands were still on her waist. Oh, sorry, don't be, she said softly. It felt nice. He froze, staring into her glowing eyes. Something warm flickered between them. Real warmth, real attraction, real attraction. Lixera whispered, human, you don't have to be afraid. I'm not afraid, he whispered back. Then why are you shaking? Roan sighed helplessly. Okay, maybe a little afraid. Lixera slowly took his hand. If we are truly bonded or even, maybe bonded it will be your choice. Not culture, not instinct, not biology. Yours. That surprised him. Deeply, you mean. You're not forcing this. She shook her head gently. No, I tease because you're fun. But I won't bond unless you want it. Roan swallowed. Wow, good or wow bad? Wow, confusing, he said honestly. Her smile softened into something warmer, realer. Confusion is acceptable. A moment passed. Quiet, warm, strange. Then Lixera's expression changed. Human, yes, we should run. From what? She pointed over his shoulder. The beast had returned, and it brought a friend. Roan screamed again. Lixera grabbed him by the arm. Second date, she shouted with delight. This is not a date. It is now. They sprinted through the glowing forest as the two beasts chased them. Roan swearing in 3 languages, and Lixera laughing as if she were enjoying a romantic picnic. And somewhere between the panicked running, the near-death leaps, and the humiliating screaming, Roan realized something truly terrifying. He actually liked this alien woman. Liked her chaos. Liked her humor. Liked her warmth. Liked the way she kept looking back to make sure he didn't fall behind. He was not supposed to like her. He was definitely not supposed to want her. And he was absolutely not supposed to feel that just lightning in the spine sensation whenever she touched him. But the truth was obvious now. He did. And that was how, in the middle of a screaming sprint through an alien jungle, Roan Thale realized he might actually be in trouble. The kind of trouble that involved feelings, and possibly eggs. Roan and Lixera burst out of the glowing grove and into a wider forest basin. Both panting, he, from absolute cardiovascular collapse, she, from laughter. The 2 bioluminescent beasts finally retreated. Apparently, bored by the sight of one human shrieking and one Zanari scout giggling like she'd just seen the best comedy show of her life. Roan collapsed onto a mossy stone. Lixera stretched, muscles shimmering in the dim light. Her tail flicked behind her with relaxed elegance. Roan glared. You enjoyed that. Admit it. I enjoyed watching you run like a frightened hatchling, she said proudly. Your legs move very fast when you think your lifespan is under negotiation. My lifespan was under negotiation. True, she conceded. But you survived. That's attractive. Roan blinked. Survival is attractive? In Zanari socio-romantic assessments, yes. A potential mate must display resilience, situational adaptability, and baseline cardiovascular competence. Roan huffed. Well, 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Which one are you missing? She asked innocently. The third one. I think I saw my ancestors while running. Lixera laughed, and even though he was exhausted, Roan felt something warm crawl up the back of his neck, a warmth that wasn't fear. After a few minutes, Lixera took a deep breath and sat beside him. Not close enough to touch, but close enough to matter. Human, she said more softly. You were brave today. I was loud today. Yes, she admitted. Loudness is not bravery. Hey, but you stayed with me. She continued. You didn't abandon me. That is bravery. Roan stared at her, confused. You're a powerful alien scout, warrior, acrobat creature. Why would I abandon you? She tilted her head, studying him with unexpected seriousness. Because Zanari, bonding rituals, can be overwhelming for humans. Most would run. I already did run. No, she said gently. You ran with me, not away from me. Roan blinked. Something about the statement felt heavier than the light tone she delivered it in. Lixera looked down at her hands, fingers brushing the moss. Human, a pause rare for her. About the bonding issue. I may have exaggerated. Roan's eyes widened. Exaggerated? How exaggerated? She gave a tiny guilty smile. Zanari bonding doesn't happen instantly. Not from one compliment. Not from one blush. He froze. You mean it wasn't real? It is real, she corrected quickly, but not finalized. Roan stared at her like she'd admitted to borrowing his spaceship and joyriding through an asteroid belt, so you made me think I'd impregnated you with telepathic alien eggs because I complimented your hair. Lixera coughed. It was a motivational tactic. For what purpose? To see if you were the type who runs or the type who stays. Roan rubbed his temples. I am the type who hyperventilates and screams at wildlife. She laughed again, joyfully. But you stayed, she said. And that tells me something important. Oh yeah, what does it tell you? That you care. He opened his mouth to protest, then closed it, because she wasn't wrong. Night deepened around them, the forests glowing faintly under alien biolights. The camp in the distance shimmered with string lights, the same ones from the moment he'd first seen her hanging above the bonfire like a mischievous jungle. Deity Lixera leaned back on her hands, looking up at the sky. Our people believe that when two individuals meet in danger, their spirits intertwine, temporarily, like vines twisting together during a storm. Roan watched her profile glow under the moonlight. She was strong, chaotic, frustrating and beautiful in a way that didn't need translation. So, he said quietly, our vines twisted. Lixera smirked sideways. Human, our vines are tangled, knotted, wrapped around each other with no respect for personal boundaries. Roan snorted. That sounds right. But I want you to understand. She added, voice soft but authoritative. Zanari, bonding is not about biology, not about accidental signals, not about culture. She turned fully toward him. It is about choice. Roan felt his heartbeat pick up. Not from fear, but from something else, something he didn't want to name yet. And if he swallowed. Don't choose it, then we remain companions, she said. Allies, friends, and I will not pressure you. The honesty was disarming. Too honest, too tender, too tenderous, too dangerous in all the ways that mattered. Lixera, he whispered. Why do you care if I choose you? She blinked, genuinely confused by his confusion. Because I like you, like me, yes, you are funny, loyal, stubborn, you scream with passion. That's not passion, that's panic. Same energy, she said with a shrug. He laughed despite himself, and, she added, looking away with a bashful flick of her tail, you look at me as if I'm more than a strange alien, as if I'm someone. Roan felt his throat tighten. Well, he murmured, you're not just someone, you're Lixera. Her eyes softened dangerously. That, she whispered, is the second compliment. He froze. Oh no. Oh yes, she said, moving closer by an inch. Two compliments triggers the possibility of intentional mate selection. Lixera, an intentional mate selection precedes mutual courtship probing. Courtship what? She leaned in, lips close to his ear. Probing, emotional probing. Roan exhaled in relief. Oh, thank God. What did you think I meant? She asked sweetly. Nothing. She grinned like a predator who'd caught him in a verbal trap. The air between them shifted. Warm, charged, alive, Roan cleared his throat. What does emotional probing involve? Lixera leaned back, eyes glowing mischievously. Well, for example, asking questions humans avoid. Like what? She counted on her fingers. 1. Are you lonely? 2. Do you desire connection? 3. When you look at me, do you wonder what it would be like if we were stopped? Roan cut in, cheeks burning. I get the concept. Lixera laughed softly. Human, you are fascinating. I'm terrified. That too. Her tail wrapped around his ankle against low, deliberate, warm. He didn't pull away. Instead, he exhaled. If we're going to be honest, then yes. I feel something. She blinked, not teasing, not playful, but surprised. You do? Yeah. I mean, I'm confused, terrified, and deeply aware that your culture terrifies me. But also he paused, trying to articulate the chaos inside him. I like you too. Lixera went completely still. Then she whispered, almost breathlessly, that is the third compliment. Roan winced. Does that mean more rituals? No, she said softly. It means this. Before he could ask what this was, she gently placed her forehead against his, the Zanari gesture of chosen affection, deliberate and unmistakable. Warmth pooled between them like a shared heartbeat. His breath caught. Her voice was barely audible. Now, our vines twist by choice. He closed his eyes. And for the first time since Roan felt something impossible. He felt safe. Safe with a woman who used vines as traps, beasts as cardio instructors, and compliments as legally binding agreements. Safe with an alien whose wild laughter made something in his chest loosen. Safe with Lixera. Then, from the camp behind them, a deep male voice shouted, Lixera, why is the human holding your face? Lixera groaned. That, she muttered, is my father. Roan's soul left his body for the second time today. Roan had imagined many ways he might die in space: depressurization, reactor failure, accidentally microwaving himself while trying to cook noodles at 3 a.m., but he had never imagined this: standing inside a glowing, humming chamber while an alien princess who was now accidentally pregnant with his hybrid child paced like she was preparing to declare war on gravity itself. Lyxra's tail flicked behind her with irritated elegance. "Stop staring at me like I'm about to explode." "I mean," Roan said, raising both hands. "Technically," the medicbot said, "you're emotionally volatile. The last time someone said that about my ex, she threw a plate at my face." Lyxra stopped pacing and gave him a dry look. "Do I look like I'm about to throw planets at you?" "Yes," Roan said without hesitation. "Yes, absolutely." She blinked. "That's fair." The chamber lights adjusted automatically, sensing her rising temperature. Her species glowed brighter when emotional, like a neon sign that read, "Pregnant. Proceed with caution." Roan tried not to stare at her bioluminescent patterns, but damn, they pulsed in ways that were definitely not safe for a man trying to stay focused. She caught him looking. Her eyebrow rose. "You're ogling." "I'm studying," he corrected. "You're ogling. Scientifically." She stepped closer, tilting her head. "My people have a tradition. When a partner ogles the mother of their unborn child without permission, he must kneel." Roan swallowed. "Kneel? For what?" "For apology," a pause, "and sometimes for fun." Roan blinked twice. "Okay, see, that's not fair. You can't throw a threat and a kink at me at the same time." Lyxra's laughter echoed, softer than any threat, sweeter than anything that should have been legal on a hostile planet. But the laughter died quickly, when another contraction-like pulse ran through her. Not pain, just discomfort. "Hybrids developed faster," the medicbot had said. Roan stepped closer instantly. Hey, breathe. "I'm right here." "You better be," she muttered. "This is partially your fault." "Partially," she glared. "Fine, entirely." Their banter softened the tension. The room hummed again, scanning her vitals in shimmering beams. She suddenly looked at him with an expression he had never seen from her, half vulnerable, half annoyed at being vulnerable. "Roan, you're not going to run, right?" "Run," he scoffed. "Lyxra, your father literally threatened to eat me. Where would I run? He'd just sniff me out." "That's not what I meant." Her voice dropped. "I mean from me." Roan stepped closer and touched her hand gently. "I fear many things. Space pirates, exploding reactors, your father's jaw size. But you, not scared of you." She exhaled shakily. "That is extremely foolish." "Yeah," he grinned, "but it's romantic, so it cancels out." Before she could respond, the chamber door slid open with the dramatic hiss of a spaceship trying too hard to sound. "Cool." The medicbot rolled in like a floating toaster with attitude. "Update. The hybrid embryonic energy spike indicates early bonding. The father must maintain physical proximity." Lyxra raised a brow. "Define physical." The bot blinked. "Ideally, touching." Roan's soul left his body. Lyxra's tail curled with wicked amusement. "You heard the medical professional, Roan," he coughed. "Right? Doctor's orders." She held out her hand, pretending she wasn't 2 seconds from laughing. "Come here, human troublemaker." He placed his hand in hers. Instantly, her glow softened, shifting into warm, rhythmic waves. The monitor flashed green. She murmured, "You stabilize me. I think that's the nicest way anyone has ever said, 'You're my emotional support mammal.'" She snorted. "Don't get used to it." They stood like that for a moment, close, connected, quiet, except for the machine hum. Roan felt her grip tighten just a little, but then a loud alarm blared through the station. Lyxra stiffened. "What was that?" Roan checked the display. "Alert. Royal Fleet arrival. IMIMINENT." His face drained of color. "Your dad is here." Lyxra stared at him. "Roan, if my father sees you holding my hand, he'll kill me. Worse, he'll declare you my husband." Roan squeaked. "I am not ready for intergalactic marriage paperwork." Lyxra grabbed his wrist. "We need to hide. Hide from a 9-foot alien king who smells fear like perfume. It's either that or explain why my hybrid embryo is pulsating like a disco lamp while you're touching me." "Okay, hiding sounds good." She pulled him behind the chamber's energy pillar, just as heavy footsteps echoed from the main corridor. King Zolvar's voice thundered through the hall. "Where is the human?" Roan whispered. "I'm dead. I'm so dead. Please tell the universe I died bravely." Lyxra whispered back. "If you don't, shut up. You'll die stupidly." Roan clamped his mouth shut. The king entered, massive, armored, glowing like an angry cosmic furnace. His aura nearly short-circuited the scanning panels. "I sensed human guilt," the king growled. Roan silently cursed every ancestor he had. Lyxra whispered, "Stay still. If he finds you," but then the embryo pulsed again, and Lyxra's glow flared brightly. The king's eyes widened. "The bond has begun." Roan whispered, horrified. "But what has WHAT?" Lyxra winced. "Oh no." King Zolvar roared triumphantly. "The human is already my son." Roan's soul left his body for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. Lyxra hid her face. "I hate everything," Roan whispered. "Can I opt out of this? Like unsubscribe from the father-in-law newsletter?" Before she could answer, King Zolvar stomped forward, grabbed the pillar, and ripped it away like a piece of cardboard. Roan just stood there, hand and lick, glowing like a guilty Christmas tree. The king leaned down, sniffed, growled, then smiled in the most terrifying way possible. Welcome to the family, human. Roan fainted on the spot.